Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another WordPress tutorial. In this video, I want to show you guys how to set up a live staging area so that the public and search engines can't see. So when we're building a website for a client, we like for the client to be able to see what we're working on from time to time. And we like for the team to be able to access it. But we want to hide everything from the public and from the search engines. Nowadays, when you register a domain, it will show up throughout the internet and you'll have traffic going to that domain whether you want it or not. Now we set up a live staging area just to make it easy for everyone to access, and we'll set up a domain that may be a .dev from their regular domain, and when you register that you get like emails and like people going to the site for no reason whatsoever. So show you guys how to build a plugin that can hide the website that you're building from the rest of the world. So let's get started. Here on the ideapro.io website, that's just a very basic site. It's actually one of the default WordPress themes, I think 2021 or something, I don't know. We're here on the dashboard, and I've also opened up the source of this website. So, because we're going to be using this source code from the browser side. Okay, so we're going to go over to our code, and I'm using VS Code, and I have a plugin that is on VS Code, or an extension, whatever you want to call it, that is SFTP. So it uploads the files to the server whenever I save them. So we're going to create a new folder here in the plugins folder. It's the WP content plugins folder, and we're going to call it the Idea Pro Development Staging. Right, and then inside of that folder, we're going to create a new file, and we're going to call it the same thing, development staging.php. I like to do that just so it's easy to find in the tree over here of all the stuff that I have open. All right, so here we're going to create a couple of commented out tags here, and we're going to say plugin name, and it's going to be the Idea Pro development staging area. And then the description, that's all we're going to put in there, is hide my site from public, from public. Okay, so that is all that we need to start out our plugin. You can put in author and all version number and all that kind of stuff. But for this video, we're just going to do it really simple. We're going to come over here to our plugins, and now we have the Idea Pro Development Staging area there. So, and then we have the description, hide my site from public. You can put in the author and links to your site and all that kind of stuff. But for this, we're going to make it as super simple as possible. So we're going to activate that plugin. Now, we've activated that plugin because we're not using any activation hooks or deactivation hooks in this code. So we can go ahead and activate it. All right, so for now, you can see the front end of the ideapro.io site. And so we're going to come over here, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to define a password. Now, you can put this into the WP config file so that you can change it for each site, so you don't have to go into the plugin and change the password for each site. But you can also set a company password that you share with clients and stuff like that, that they can access the site and use the same password for all your sites. Because most of the time people aren't going to know what other sites you're working on or get that access, get that password unless someone shares it on a forum or something. But then you can come in and change it per site. So we're going to say Idea Pro development password. And for this password, we're just going to set pass 1 2 3 4. All right. Now, as I said, you can put this in the WP config so that you can change it for each site, or you can just leave it here and change it in the plugin itself on each time. So, all right. So now we're going to write out a session start, because we're going to track everything by a session, and by default a lot of times WordPress doesn't create a session. So we're going to make sure that we start a session and track the password that they've submitted by session, so that when they can access the website the entire time they have the browser window open. Once they close a browser window, it will remove that session and they won't have access to it anymore. Okay, so this is going to be our function. So we're going to say Idea Pro development session. Okay, and we're going to add an action underneath it, and that action is going to be init. And what that does is it initializes when WordPress loads, and then our second argument here is going to be our function, and then our third argument is going to be a 0. We want this to fire as high up on the totem pole as it can fire so that we get a session started. So we're going to say if not is set, and we're just going to use session. If the session is not set, we're going to session start. So that way we have a session to play with no matter what. All right. So the next thing we're going to do down here is we're going to say function show development staging form. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to say if they've not entered a password, show the form. If they've entered the password and it's the correct password, they can continue on. So if is set session, and we're just going to create it here, and then we can go, we'll use it throughout. So we can say Idea Pro development password, right? And we're going to copy this, and that password is equal to the constant. If you guys didn't know what that is what that is, defines a constant. Okay, and I have videos on that. So now we're going to say if the session Idea Pro development password is set and it equals to that constant, we're going to do nothing else. We're going to require a form. Okay, so let's say include plugin directory path, and this is going to be underscore file underscore dot inc form.php. Okay, so now we need to come over here and create a folder called inc, and then inside of that folder we're going to create a form.php. All right, so now it's created that file for us, and then after this we're going to say die, because we don't want anything else to happen after it shows that form. If we don't say die, then the page will continue to load. So I'll show you really quick. So we say, hi, this is the form. All right, we'll save that. If we come over here and save this and come over and refresh the page, oh, we didn't call this add action WP head, and then this is going to be our function here. It's going to be the second argument, and then the third argument is going to be 0 again, because we want that to fire as high as possible. All right, so now if we come back over and refresh, now it says, hi, this is the form. If we remove this die from here and we come over and we refresh, we have, hi, this is the form up here at the top, but we can still see the site. So we want to kill it here. And then on the form, I'm going to show you guys one reason why I pulled up the code. So now we have, hi, this form. So this is what the code looks like, the source looks like when it was the full site. Now if we refresh, now we've broken the, we haven't closed out the head tag, we haven't closed out the HTML tag. We need to create a body, because any text and stuff that we present to the browser needs to be in the body and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that on my plugin. All right, so over here in the form, the first thing we're going to do is take this out, and we're going to close the head tag. Okay, so then we're going to open up a body tag, and then we're going to close the HTML tag. And if we say hi, oops, I am the form. Now we refresh. Now we have opening HTML, opening head, opening body, closing body, and the closing HTML tag. Let me probably zoom in a little bit so you guys can see that a little bit better. All right, so now we've created a true kind of HTML tag, and it still says the same thing. Hi, I'm the form. All right, so now, is that blown up too? Yep. All right, so now we can come over here and we can start building out the form. But since we have access to this head tag, we're going to create a style sheet here. So then we can come down here and we can create a div, and this div is going to be our class form container. Whoops. Okay, and so up here in the style, we're going to do HTML. Let's do a width of 100%, a height of, let's just do 90%, and that's it on the HTML. The body, same thing. We can copy these and paste them here. We do want to do a display of flex, justify content is center, and align items, if I can type it, center. Now what that's going to do is it's going to create it as a flex, and then justify content moves everything to the center horizontally, and then align items moves it to the center vertically. Okay, so now in here, if we say hi, I am the form, we come over here and we refresh. Now right here in the middle we have hi, I am the form. So we've kind of moved everything to the center to make it look a little bit better. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the design of it, but we do want to make it look halfway decent. All right, so we're going to do an H2 here and say enter the password to continue. There we go, continue. Wow. All right, so then we're going to create a label. We're not going to worry about a for. We're going to say password, and then we're going to put an input, and that type is going to be a password. Name is equal to access password. Placeholder is equal to enter the password to continue. Continue. I'll try to spell it right again. All right, and so then we're going to create a div here just to provide a little easier. So submit container, and then we're going to create a input. Type is equal to submit. Name is equal to get dev access, and the value is going to say get access, and the class is going to be a submit underscore btn. Now you can create this to do whatever you want. I'm just trying to put some stuff in there so that we can do it really quick. All right, so the H2, we're going to do a font size of 28 pixels, and then the label, we're going to do a font size 18 pixels, font weight, we'll do bold, and this is going to be a display block so that it sends the input field to the next line. So then we're going to do an input, come on, there we go, type is equal to password. And we're going to say font size is 18 pixels. Padding is 1 rem and 2 rem for the left and right. Width is 100%. All right, so then let's style our button container. And we just did that so that I could do a little bit of a padding in there. Could use a margin on the button, but I'm going to say padding is 1 rem and 0. And then our submit, whoops, type it right, submit button is going to be background. Let's do background color of green. Again, you guys can spend more time on this than I am, but font size 18 pixels, and then the border is going to be 0 or none. Whoops. Border. There we go. And then color, we're going to do the font color of just white. All right. So now let's refresh, save, refresh, and see what we got. Boom. All right. So we got to add a little bit of padding to our button. So padding, we can do 1 rem and 2 rem for the left and right. Boom, look at that. Looks halfway decent. Label, we could do a padding up here for the label, just for the fun of it. 0.8 rem, how about that? And then 0 for the left and right. There we go. So now we have the label and the access. All right, so now we need to open a form tag. So that form tag can go above the div or it can go inside of the div. Let's do it inside of the div. All right, so form action. We're going to take this form tag and go down here. So that form closes out there. Let's do that. And then let's do that. There we go. And so the action is going to be, we're going to open up some PHP tags here. And it's going to be echo plugin directory URL. And it's going to be file. Actually, it's going to be directory. File? Yeah, let's just do file. File. And then from here, we can do access.php. Whoops. Okay, so over here in the INC, we can say new access.php. So that's going to be where we submit everything to see if the password is correct. All right, so let's go over here and refresh, and let's take a look at the inspector here. So we're submitting it to the WP Content Plugins Idea Pro Development Staging INC access.php. So our access, we're sending it to the right place for that file on the action there. All right, and then our method, we don't want to forget that, is going to be post. We don't want it to be a get method. So then on the access over here, we're going to create some PHP tags, and then I'm going to bring in a idea require. And what this is it requires once. It's the WP load that's in the public HTML of the site, and this loads all of the WordPress stuff that we want, because we're going to use some WordPress functions in here. So we want to bring that in. So then in here, we're going to say if is set, and it's going to be $_post. And then we're going to go back over here and look for the name of our submit button, which is this here. If that is set, put in some tags, then we can do this. Okay. And then we're going to do a WordPress function, WP redirect, and we're going to send them back to the site URL. Now, if you wanted to, if you directed them to a certain page, About Us page, and you wanted them to go directly to that page, on the form, you could capture that page that they're on, and then when they submitted the file, it would take them back to that page, but we're just going to send them back to the home page of the website for this plugin. And again, we're going to die because we don't want anything else to happen, after the redirect, which sometimes it can happen. So This WP redirect is a WordPress function to redirect people or redirect the user to a certain page. And we're calling site URL, which is the home page of the website. So no matter what, if they don't submit the file, it'll automatically take them back to the home page. If they do submit the form, it will bring them here, and then we're going to check to see if the password is correct. Okay. So what we're using is access password as the name. So right here in the top, we're going to make a variable called access password, and we're going to sanitize text field. That way we're getting rid of anything that any kind of hackers tried to bring in or anything like that. And then we're going to say post and access password, because that is the name of that field. So, all right. So if, whoops, we're going to copy this. If access password is equal to, whoops, and then we're going to look back here at our constant. If it's equal to that, else. So if it's equal to that, we're going to set the session for the password. If not, we're going to tell them that it's not correct. All right. So over here, we said if the development password and the development password is equal to password, we're kind of double checking it. So we're going to say we're going to take this session here, and we're going to say if access password is equal to the development password, we're going to say session password is equal to, and we're going to give the one that they've submitted. Okay. And then it's not going to do anything else. It's going to redirect here. But if it's wrong, we're going to copy this again. And here we're going to say error is equal to 1. All right. So now what happens is if the password's correct, it's going to set that session. If it's not correct, it's going to set this here. All right. So let's copy this. I'll show you what we're going to do with it. Over here on the form, just right below the label, we're going to create a PHP tag here. And then we can say if is set, and we'll paste that in there, and paste that again, is equal to 1. We're going to show a paragraph tag here that says you have entered an incorrect, I can't type, password. There you go. And then up here, we're going to style our P tag to be color, red, and font weight bold. All right. So now we'll come back over here to our page, and we're going to refresh the page. And if we click get access, boom, it says you have entered an incorrect password because we didn't put anything in at all. All right. If we come up here and we grab the correct password, which we put in as pass1234, we put that in there and hit submit. Boom. Now we have access to the website as long as this page is open. As soon as we close this browser, the session will forget who we are, and the session will be ended, and they will get the form again to enter the password. So really quick, simple plugin. When you're ready to go live with the website, whether you copy it over to another site or you're using it on the actual domain, all you have to do is go in and deactivate the plugin and delete it. Make sure you delete it so somebody else doesn't activate it later on and cause the website to not be accessible. But that way, all you have to do is deactivate the plugin, and then people can see the front of the website, and you're pretty much live if you're using that same domain or the domain that the website's going to be on. So hope you guys like this video. Please like and subscribe. Subscribing is free, and it helps my channel, helps me spend more time to make videos. Hopefully I'm going to make a whole lot more this year. Again, thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.